Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Throughout Vermont, there are several dozen summer camp opportunities for young people. There are day camps and overnight camps. There are specialty camps for sports, music, and children with special needs. But there is only one Northeast Kingdom Military Teen Adventure Camp, with a session in June and another in July. For more details, I'm joined by the UVM Extension 4-H Youth Health and Wellness Coordinator, Anthony Scherza. And also with us is Brian Stadenauer. Brian is the lead child and youth program coordinator with the Vermont National Guard. Thank you both for making the time to come in today.
Absolutely, Fran. Thanks for having us.
So, Anthony, let's start with you and just tell us, what is the Northeast Kingdom Military Teen Adventure Camp? It sounds so great.
It does, and it will be. It's a teen camp, a military teen camp for youth between the ages of 13 and 18 that have a parent or a guardian in the National Guard or the regular armed forces, and youth will be eligible to participate. They'll be coming from throughout the country, and there's no charge for the overnight camp, and it'll be held at Vermont State University in Lyndonville, Vermont.
Okay, so, who's putting this all together, and can you make it free?
Well, it's a grant-funded opportunity from the USDA, the Department of Defense, and the granting agency is Purdue University. And I reached out to Tom Anderson at Vermont State. They have an outdoor education, leadership, and tourism program, and I knew that they would have the staff to provide the expertise for what it was that we wanted to offer. And so the cost is being assumed by the grants that we were awarded.
Awesome. And once again, this is for any teen in this region with a parent or guardian in the Armed Service or the National Guard. So let us know a little bit more. And I think, worldwide, you bring in kids from all over. So tell us a little bit about that and then what's planned for the camp.
That's correct. We have 20 slots that were available, and half of them are coming from throughout the country, many of them west of the Mississippi, Texas, Colorado, Oklahoma will be represented. So yes, it was open to youth from throughout the country, and they're excited to visit Vermont.
Awesome. And so what's planned for camp? What are they going to experience?
Well, there's a myriad of activities that will include mountain biking, hiking, kayaking, canoeing, disc golf, fitness training, and we understood some of the unique challenges that youth from military families are presented with, and so Brian will be completing some resilience training, leadership training, mental health and well-being, self-confidence, so an entire social emotional learning program united with outdoor adventure.
Well, let's turn to Brian then about that. So it's really important to note that Vermont does not have a military base. So it's not like all the families are together on the military base and they get to know each other that way. So when military parents living here in civilian communities are mobilized, their kids kind of can go through a lot of stuff, and it's helpful to be together. So tell us, Brian, what you do to support those kids and what's unique about those kids.
Yeah, so great, Fran, thanks for asking. So without a military base, there's no central location for kids to come to, like you said. So they could be sitting in a classroom, being the only military kid in that class. They could be the only one in their grade. They could possibly in the state of Vermont, be the only one in their school. And so having a place that we can bring the community together and for them to understand that they do have true peers that are in the state is really important for their mental well-being and their community development, for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. So based on your years of experience, really, what kind of outcomes do you see when military kids are part of your programs or camps like this?
So one is definitely, like I was just mentioning, understanding that they do have true peers in the society, right? The next one is these kids are super resilient because they go through so much, but they also need to be reminded of that and maybe given new tools on how to exact that in their lives.
Right.
Yeah.
So going back, I'm seeing a kid in a classroom nobody knows that they're a military kid. Are they hesitant to talk with their classmates about that, or is that part of what you talk about?
Yeah, that is part of what we talk about with them. You know, we do want them to be proud and to acknowledge that this is part of who they are as a military kid and as a military family. I'm sorry, Fran.
Well, if there's a kid, I'm seeing, somebody in a class, their parent has just been deployed.
Yeah.
Do they talk with other? Does the teacher know, for example? Do they talk about it? Is that important? Just thinking of other kids who in a classroom might not know that there's a military kid in their class.
It is super important for the families to tell the school and to tell the teachers so that they're aware. And then what we ask the teachers to do, I've gone into several classrooms and in several school districts throughout the state to educate them about what it means to be a military kid here in Vermont. And what that does is they then start to do inclusion activities within the school, right? Maybe they'll start celebrating Flag Day, talking about Memorial Day when it's coming up, and just acknowledging the existence of the military population in the state of Vermont. And that can be so welcoming and helpful to the youth that are the military kids in the state.
Well, let's talk about that. What's the feedback that you get from the military families who participate in some of these programs?
In some of these, they really love that they get to see other military families and they get to see their kids play with other military kids and make that community connection with them. The other thing is that they do get a lot of education out of these camps. Yep, we absolutely want to have fun and celebrate these kids, but we're there to educate them in non-traditional ways. And so pushing the resiliency piece and helping them to connect that to what their daily life is and how that can impact them and make them a better person with who they are, and trying to give them some skills that will help them do that.
And do they say that works?
They do, yeah. I've had kids that come back that are graduated from high school that I can technically no longer serve, right? Come back and just ask for, just have conversations with me because they're having challenges in various things. And I've had parents reach out to me to thank us and thank me for the resiliency education that the kids do see.
They know you've got their back.
They know that we got their backs. Yes,
right.
Yeah.
So Anthony, let's come back to the upcoming camps. Just a little bit of information. When are they? What do families need to know to sign up?
Sure, we start in 1 month. There are 2 sessions, June 26th through 29th, and then July 10th through July 13th. So there'll be 3 overnights, and students can reach out to me directly, or families can reach out at anthony.skurza@uvm.edu. Our collaboration with Vermont State has sort of united some history. Yes, and the web link is uvm.edu Adventure Camp. That's great.
And it is at VSU at Linden State. So you have this. You talked a little bit about this collaboration. It's great because the kids can stay in the dormitories, right?
They'll be staying in the dormitory, eating local foods from the cafeteria, having access to the myriad of activities in the Northeast Kingdom. Vermont State on campus has disc golf, mountain bike course, a ropes course, so they access to a pond for canoeing, so it's a nice little playground for outdoor education. And then we will utilize Kingdom Trails and Lake Willoughby as well. So.
Oh, awesome. And I realized that I didn't have the phone number. If that screen can come back up, there's also a phone number, and that is 802-656-7606. And you are willing to have your email up there, which is also
Yes,
right?
That's correct. Anthony.Skurza, the last name is SGHERZA at uvm.edu. And we've had a wait list, but there's been some movement in the registrations, and so there are 2 or 3 spots still open for 1 or 2 of the camps. So,
terrific.
Yes.
And what an opportunity, because there are kids all from all over the country and maybe even internationally.
That's correct. That is a potential.
Military families, of course, live all over the world.
That is correct.
Often. So who will be staffing the camp session? How does that work?
Brian will be a staff member, and then faculty, students, and staff from Vermont State University. We had our first meeting last night. It was great to have that meet and greet. I'd like to say their names. It's Tom Anderson, Brad and Ben, Owen, Josh, Kevin, Marie, and Alex. And I don't think I missed anyone.
I think you got it.
I think you got them. So that's awesome. So they will be doing all kinds. I mean, it sounds like so much fun, right? Summer camp, adventures.
It's going to be such a blast to be with that group of military youth and just youth, right? Out exploring northern Vermont, and bringing them into the state is we need people in the state. So if we can expose them to Vermont, which is maybe a place that folks might not typically come to for a family vacation, if we can expose them to the wonders and joys of Vermont, they might decide to go to Linden or come back to Vermont
there you
for
go.
us. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Yeah.
But it is limited to military families and National Guard.
It is very much limited to military families, not just National Guard.
And-
Any military component can be part of the program.
And teens, meaning
13 to 18-year-olds.
Okay, awesome. And so Brian, what if both parents are deployed? It happens. What do those kids do?
It does. So they lean on extended family members. They get a lot of grandparents involved in the mix, and sometimes they have to go and live with aunties and uncles too. And we do experience that here in Vermont for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just a little bit more about leadership and resilience training. I mean, these are kids that understand leadership because their parents have said yes to leadership. How does it work in their lives, and why is that important?
So the leadership structure is very important in the military, and that gets extended to the home life as well a lot of times. That doesn't necessarily mean that whoever's the service member is the one that's in charge in the house, by no means, whether that's mom in the military or dad in the military.
Yeah.
Usually the one that's not is the one that runs the home, right? And they just have to lean on extended family members in their community to really help support them if there is a dual status family home and they both get deployed. Yeah.
Well, Brian and Anthony, thank you so much for taking such good care of our military kids. We look forward to hearing from you again about some of your other programs.
Thanks, Fran.
Thank you, Fran.
And once again, thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.